نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Respected principal, teachers and my dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I will speak to you about a chapter of history that many people don't know, even though it is one of the most powerful and emotional stories of Muslim resistance in India's freedom struggle. This is the story of Tehreek-e-Reshmi Rumal, or the Silk Letter movement. It was a hidden revolution led not by politicians or kings, but by the humble, God-fearing ulama of India, scholars who were full of iman, love for their deen and love for their country. The Silk Letter movement was started around the time when World War I began. During the early 90s, the British were ruling over India and Muslims were suffering greatly under their control. Their education system was destroyed, their religious institutions were watched, and their voices were silenced. But the ulama, the students of Darul Uloom Deoband, were not ready to live under slavery. They had faith in Allah and deep courage in their hearts. They decided to do something that would surprise the whole world. The leaders of this movement were Maulana Mahmud Hasan Deobandi, who was famously known as Sheikhul Hind, and his close students like Maulana Ubaidullah Sindhi, Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madni, and others. They had a powerful dream to unite the Muslim world and raise a military force to free India from British rule. And all of this was done in secret, with total trust in Allah and deep sincerity. Dear audience, why is it called Tehreek-e-Reshmi Rumal? Because these brave ulama wrote secret letters about their plans on pieces of silk cloth, soft folded silk handkerchiefs. These were used so that the letters could be hidden easily and carried safely from one place to another without attracting attention. These silk letters were sent to Muslim rulers outside India, like the Ottoman Khalifa in Turkey and the rulers of Afghanistan, asking for their help in the fight against British imperialism. They traveled to distant places like Kabul, Baghdad, and even Hijaz, which is now Saudi Arabia, just to build support. Maulana Mahmud Hasan himself traveled to Mecca and made it the center of planning. But unfortunately, their secret plan was discovered. One of the silk letters was called by the British spies. The entire network was exposed. Maulana Mahmud Hasan was arrested in Mecca and handed over to the British. He was then taken to the infamous Malta prison, far away from India. He stayed there in terrible conditions, in chains for 3 long years. Maulana Ubaidullah Sindhi continued his efforts from Afghanistan, trying to build a new army. Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madni was also caught and put into jail. Many other ulama were arrested, tortured, and punished. Their families suffered. Their institutions were raided, but they never broke. They remained strong and firm because they were not fighting for any political chair. They were fighting for Islam, for freedom, and for the future of this ummah. This movement failed in the worldly sense because their plans were crushed. But in reality, it was a success in the eyes of Allah. Why? Because it showed that even when Muslims were weak and poor, they still had the heart to rise up for justice. It showed that true revolution does not need money or weapons. It needs sincere hearts, deep iman, and total trust in Allah. And what happened after that? When Maulana Mahmud Hasan returned from Malta prison, the people welcomed him with great love. His beard had turned white. His body was weak, but his eyes were still shining with the same fire. He continued to teach, guide, and inspire the youth until his last breath. His student Maulana Hussain Ahmad Madni carried the mission forward and became one of the greatest voices in India's freedom struggle. Dear brothers, what can we learn from this hidden revolution? We learn that history is not just made by famous names and big armies. Sometimes the true heroes are those whose stories are written in pain, in patience, and in silence. These ulama were not freedom fighters for show. They were men of Allah. They cried in tahajjud and they stood firm in jail. They did not ask for praise. They did not ask for praise. They worked quietly because they knew Allah was watching. We also learned that Islam is not against patriotism. Our ulama loved their country. They believed that Muslims must live with freedom and dignity. But their love for the land never made them forget their duty towards deen. They combined the love of country with the love of Allah. That's the real balance. And lastly we learned that even if the world forgets these sacrifices, we must not forget. We must teach our children about Tehreek-e-Reshme Rumal. We must remember the pain of Malta prison. We must revive the courage of our ulama, not by fighting wars, but by becoming honest, disciplined, educated, and God-fearing citizens. May Allah accept the sacrifices of our elders, and may He raise their ranks in Jannah. May He allow us to follow their path with truth, sincerity, and complete trust in Him. Wa akhru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.